DM Live TV, your number one digital channel for business, entrepreneurship, and innovation.
Today, I want to introduce to you again the same gentleman that we had some good tea and conversation with last week, Mr. Grace Munyirwa of Vine Pharmaceuticals. Yeah, come on, I can hear you giving him some love. Welcome so much. And then I'm going to shift to this side of the table, Mr. Chris Kawesa of Doug and Bragan Industries. Yes, who is also the leader of Business Garage here at Worship Harvest, and of course, Coach, Apostle, Mr. Moses Mukisa, right over here. Right now, he's coming on as the CEO of Momentum Leadership Group. Yes, and many other things.
That sounds authentic.
It does sound very authentic, and it is. And this gentleman today, I'm going to be asking them questions. But guys, I'm asking today. Last week, I looked for the questions. I couldn't find them. This week, we want to engage with you. What would you like us to talk about? What questions do you have for this gentleman today? Write them. We have a team looking out. They'll send the questions through and we'll ask them, okay? But I'll start with the question I have, since you guys haven't yet started asking the questions. So, gentlemen, the first question, which is very open. People are telling us last week, of course, what they really loved. Last week, I loved the comment by Apostle Mose that if your business is not online, you are in the business of the past. I hope that you went and put your business online after that. For at Home Baked, where I lead, we sent some gifts out to some of our customers. It was really nice, and we're going to keep sending some gifts out because we were challenged by Business Garage that it's a time to be generous. Right now, in this season, send gifts out, especially to people who have been with you for a while. Philip Tasovia, we send you greetings. You were called by the Prime Minister's office and they needed a loan to finance the ongoing project. I think these are not the things I want you to write on the Business Garage forum, guys. I need real questions. So let me start by asking a question today. Last week, you came and you challenged us. You challenged us to open our minds, to redefine reality, to sort of get our thumb out of our mouth and stop crying about what's going on and start figuring out how to start making progress in the pandemic. And now the question that I bring as a listener is, okay, so I'm trying to be positive here. I'm redefining reality. I've agreed that this is just a low point in business as it happens. Now, how do I move forward from after redefining the reality? I've allowed there's a pandemic. I've allowed that there's opportunity. How do I move forward? How do I start to make real practical steps to start to move towards thriving? Not only now, because you told us last week that it's not the first time we're having a low in our business world, and it will come again. But what are some of the things that you are seeing, anticipating as business people, and you're saying you can start thriving now by doing this, because this is what we sort of see in this season? Who am I going for first?
This time I'll not start, actually. I'm just making a qualifier.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, for those who support Argentina, congratulations on winning the Copa America. If you don't know what that means, don't worry about it. You don't need to lose. You won't lose any money for not knowing. But you said it's a low point, and I wanted to say that it depends. Yeah, because if you are the maker of Covidex, it's definitely not a low point. It's not even just a high point. It is in the skies.
Wow.
So it's a low point depending on what you are putting out. And I don't think that there's anyone who was told by God that you can only produce katunkuma or groundnuts. Nothing more, nothing less. So yeah, I just wanted to bring the qualifier before we start with Mr. Mnyira, because he's our senior here. He has been in business longer than most of you have been alive. So we prefer to listen to him.
Get used to it, man.
Okay. Thank you very much, Apostle and pastors. What I was thinking is going forward, what do we do as employers and as employees? So I would split that into two and say, what do you do as an employer? One of the things that's going to happen is that employers are going to reduce their expenses. So they are going to look at payroll and ask themselves, do I need the 30 people? Do I need everyone in? So it's going to be that the employer will need you as and when they'll hire you as and when they need you. So you're going to be a free agent offering your services to whoever needs them at a certain price. So just for purposes of our example, it's possible that you'll work with Airtel and MTN at the same time, but at different times.
Wow.
Okay. So in the morning, you'll work with Airtel. In the afternoon, you'll go and work for MTN. But you'll bill these two companies separately. And the ones who have been doing a good job will actually earn more money. Now, for the employee side, it would be a time to actually be rewarded for your hard work. So those who have been really delivering on the contracts will get actually more work. They'll be flooded with more work than they can take on. Those who have been lazy will actually be eliminated. That would be it on the employee side. But I was reading a report by McKinsey where they said 25% of the workforce is going to not come back. So it's not like they're not going to switch employers. It's not like moving from company A to company B. No, they are going to look for different work. Wow. So in this case, you need to be unearned. You're a pastor and a motivational speaker. I was reading, I think, the Telegraph, where I saw a pilot with Emirates driving a truck.
Wow. Okay,
delivering things by a truck. You're going to need to be an earned person. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Grace, now I don't know what to add, but that last one was a major one. Talking about people, I think, as you know now, like really, people are key. Most appreciable asset of a business is people. And there's a lot of focus on people, like Mr. Munira is saying. What I feel like the people, one, on the side of the employees, what we should be doing is to be as resourceful as possible. Yeah? You put your degree aside and get some skills, even in this lockdown. The basic example. If you have done some research on businesses today who have caught on the idea of going online,
yes,
that alone, the skills of the people who are going to do your videos, your audios, is limited. It's very limited. Even just the use of, even if they have to use a camera, you still need someone to edit your videos. So the online skill alone is limited. So it will be nice for some of us to learn some of those skills, because everyone is looking, who do I use? The ones who are good are very, very stretched at the moment. So that's one of the things. I'm just thinking, what do you do? You've talked about the pilot who is driving a truck.
Wow.
So put your degree aside and let us find some skills that are required at this time. Let us write books. There are so many things to do that can help you in this season while you're at home. But even after, you will find that you'll even quit your job and carry on those things. So internally, like you said, business will most likely reduce on people because the inflow is also going to reduce. I don't want to prophesy doom, but the chances are high that people, even if the money is there, people are going to hold on a little bit and pay out less, pay 20 days later, pay 50% of the invoice. So you'll find that the companies are going to use the little resources that they have, and they want to maximize that. Now, on the other hand, the business leaders, we need to look at our strategy going forward. We've had 2 pandemics. You were locked down the last time, you even locked down this time. What's there to change in your business? Do you want to add a service? Do you want to add a product? Do you want to partner? If you're a shop and you've been sending things to Arua, for example, and now you can't because you can't open your shop, do you want to set up a shop in Arua? So we're going to find different strategies of operating our businesses in order to be sustainable, even after the pandemic, which will probably help us scale and work better and be more efficient.
Wow.
For me, I'm going to speak on behalf of Muntua Wansi.
Wow.
MWW.
Yeah.
Or WW, depending on where you went to school. So I think, let me first address those who are employed. You have a job, or right now you have half a job because they've drastically reduced the work you can do.
Yes.
And you're doing it from home, so they've told you you'll only be getting 50% of your usual salary. So you had a job, now you have half.
Wow.
or whatever it is. I think the first, one of the first and most important shifts one can make in their thinking is to think about yourself as a business.
Wow.
The individual. I am a business. You are a business. Even if you're employed somewhere, when you go to work, think about it that your business
Yes.
is taking services to that other business where you are employed. And your salary is simply your gross, your revenue. And then you plan around it. How do you make a profit of that? Because most people are deceived into thinking that your salary is a profit. It's not.
It's not.
Yeah, because part of it goes to transporting you to work and back. Part of it goes to food. Part of it goes to whatever it is. So those who don't get any money left to invest actually don't. They think they are business. They are running a loss-making venture.
Ooh.
They are depending on goodwill and friends to survive. Okay. So one, look at yourself as a business. Moses Mkisa is a business. And I take my resources to Momentum Leadership Group. I take my resources to Worship Harvest. I take my resources to wherever it is that I'm involved with. And then start asking yourself, how do I increase the value that I deliver to my client? Because that might help you deal with the problem Grace just talked about. 25% of the people are not coming back, but 75 are coming back.
Yes.
And really, being in the top 75 shouldn't be a Herculean task unless your levels of mediocrity are out of this world. Yeah, like we are just talking about being in the top 75% and you survive. We are not saying 10%. Prove yourself. Be an ego. No. Even if you are a kite and you can fly at lower levels, you will be retained. Just don't be a duck. That's what we are saying. So, I hope I'm not talking badly.
You're talking very well.
I'm talking very well. So, look at yourself as a business and ask yourself, am I bringing value?
Yeah.
Because this business of just checking in and checking out and receiving a check and all of that rhymes, by the way.
Yeah, checks and checks.
It's not going to work. Yeah, at some point you'll be found out that you are the fat, not the muscle in the meat. Okay. So, don't be the fat. You're a business. Daniel Lapin says a business is any person or group of people who have customers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
so, if you're employed at Vine Pharmaceuticals, if you're employed at Vine Pharmaceuticals is your customer. If you're employed by Doug and Bragan is your customer. And if you figure out how to make your customer happy and do all the things we said, be generous with your customers, give your customers a little bit extra in this season, you are going to fly. So, one, you are a business. Two, the other thing I thought about is manage your cash flows. The moment they announced the second pandemic, I sent a message to all the pastors at Worship Harvest, and it was one quick message. Control thy expenditure.
Indeed.
For whosoever doth not control their expenditure shall be found out
Indeed.
sooner
Rather
or
than
later. Especially later when the pandemic is over and now it's time to get into a different mode, but you lack the resources to adapt to, to go into that different mode. So manage your expenses. Look, you have to notice that something has changed, and because as a business person, you are not a non-profit organization. You are a business. That means money is important. So if you don't know how to handle money, if you don't know how to manage cash flows, you're already getting ready to get out.
Wow. Okay. So already you're hearing so much, being fired and being released to us, so much wisdom, so much is happening. I have questions to follow on some of the things you have asked, and I have some questions coming in online. So, Mr. Manura talked about you need to become an and person. You have to add to whatever you do. You can no longer be this just, one way, I only do one thing. We talked about the fact that we are now free agents. Like, see yourself as this free agent. There's lots of opportunity as opposed to thinking I'm stuck. There's more that can be done. Become resourceful. Put your degree aside. Learn some skills that are needed right now. And of course, managing our cash flows and increasing the value we are delivering and seeing ourselves as people in business. Now, I think that most of the people watching us online right now are actually people who are employed. Yeah. And I like that at Business Garage, we have been taught that if you're employed, you're in business. Because we've always thought that business means I run something, but that you deliver a service. So you talked about the fact that we must increase our value and basically to be retained now in that, even if it's the 75%, it's going to mean that I have stood out. All of you here run entities where you employ people. And that's a good thing because now we can listen in from the employer's perspective. What would make you want to retain someone? What are the things that will make someone stand out and put them in that 75% or even 25% that you'll say these ones are an asset to our organization. We are not willing to let them go. Because as I'm listening, then I'll say that's what I should look out for. Yeah. So talk to us. What would you make you keep?
I really want to contribute to that conversation going forward, but someone has made a very funny comment on YouTube, and I have to read it for you.
Okay.
About not being the fat. Queen Kaya says, don't be the fat. Ha ha ha. You are part of the cause of the high cholesterol of the business. Because the business has got to shed you off.
Wow.
Some people's minds.
Yeah, they work.
But first, I don't know.
Go on.
Preachers, we have a problem. First of all, one of the things is, I'm going to lean into Grace's point, be an and person. Be capable of doing more than one thing in the business. If for you, the only thing you know how to do is to sweep the corridor, strictly the corridor, with a broom.
Yeah.
Okay? And then they say, okay, can you also clean the desk? And you're like, no. That's way out of my skill set. I can only sweep the corridor. You're gone. Yeah. So, in addition to sweeping the corridor, know something else in the business. Be someone with multiple capacities. Yeah, sweep the corridor, clean the desk, make the tea, smile at people when they come.
Yes, that goes a long way.
Yeah, it goes a long way.
When you're talking about cash flows, something came to my mind that, cash flow is a real thing. And if you don't manage it well, I'm just thinking, if you don't manage your cash flows well, you'll have cash flows.
Hey!
You may have an inflow of cashes. But
so bad. Today's Business Garage though.
Inflow of cashes.
Back to the Mulamwa. I just think each one should manage their P&L. Because you are a business.
I'm sorry,
then know
P&L?
Profit and loss.
Thank you so much.
How much are you bringing into the business? And how much are you taking out? Does your employer break even on you or make profit on you?
Wow.
So if you cannot elaborate the value that you bring using numbers, then you'll be easily eliminated.
Wow.
But the other thing I'm thinking about is, if you're highly skilled, then teach others the skill that you actually have and charge them. Because we are reskilling and upskilling. So teach Pastor B3 how to manage or how to generate a financial statement for her business and how to interpret it, so that skill, so as you're able to charge her. Now, for you as a provider of the service, you're able to earn an income.
Yes.
But for her as a business owner, she's able to actually have a bigger understanding of the business. Yeah.
Wow. Love it. Mr. Kawesa.
What do I add?
Something.
But let me paint a picture. Let me
Go
give
on.
a real example now. If I'm an accountant at Dagan Bragan, for example, I wake up in the morning, we're in lockdown. You go to office 1 or 2 days a week. I wake up in the morning, I can do a Zoom training for my other colleagues. After that, I can debt collect. Then I can call customers maybe in the afternoon as customer care, are you well, etc. And then I can also manage our social media platform. Why do I need to employ anyone else?
Wow.
Why should the employer have 4 different people doing those things when one person can do it? Yeah.
Wow. I hope that that's sinking right now. Basically, what value do I add where I am providing a service? If you put yourself in the employer's shoes, why should they keep me in that post? But I think Mr. Munyira has something he wants to add. It looks like he's burning. He's about to add something there before I ask the next question.
No, I was thinking, as a business, okay, we are under lockdown 42 days. But no one's invoice is going to get paid on the 43rd day. Because sometimes we are thinking, after 42 days, miracles will happen.
Oh, wow.
But the person supposed to pay you also doesn't have the money to pay you. You get? So what has also found out is that office space will be smaller because there will be fewer people.
Yes.
So as a landlord, you'll also be having more abundant space.
Wow.
Now, if you always dreamt of starting a business, you're going to get rent for pennies. Because the landlord is going to get stuck with more space than can be occupied. So it can also be a very ripe time for you who has been dreaming of starting your business to actually negotiate rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a good time.
To negotiate rent.
And even those who are already in the spaces to renegotiate.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Wow.
Some other report actually I was reading said 2 skills that you will need. 1, interpretation of data. Let everyone be able to interpret data, what that means. Number 2 is, God help me, negotiation. Negotiation. Let people know how to renegotiate. There are no contracts we are going to sign for 2 years.
Yeah.
We're going to sign weekly contracts.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we don't know what next week will be like.
Wow.
In fact, some other guy said, right now, you cannot tell what you'll be doing 3 weeks from now.
It's true.
Because you don't know whether we shall have another extension or there will be a tighter restriction. So you're just planning a week, saying, okay, fine, let's do it this week. We shall see what else will happen.
So what I'm hearing is we have to adapt fast. We have to be willing to adapt fast and keep changing.
Yes, and I have 2 more points. To the last question, is that allowed?
Yes. Those 2 more points, and I'm asking a new question.
Yeah, because the one I talked about is have multiple capacities.
Yes.
But the other thing that actually people never think about, if, say, we were employed to run from one side of the building to the other side, and we are 5 of us, yeah? And we always take, let's say, 40 seconds on average. And they have to get rid of 2 of us.
Uh-oh.
The person who takes 35 seconds is going to stay, and the person who takes 45 seconds is going to go.
For sure.
Which means that the relative amount of time to accomplish the task in the company is actually going to reduce. Higher competitiveness.
Yes.
So one of the things people actually never think about is just whatever you've been doing, if you can do it in 80% of the time you've been using, you're going to have an advantage.
Wow.
Because now that there's all these things that are happening, and what clients, customers also now time conscious. Like,
yes.
Yeah, I've ordered a thing, I want it within
now.
That will bring. So whoever can deliver quickest. Yeah, at some point it's going to be whoever can deliver quickest, not whoever has the best product. Because delivery time is part of the goodness of the product. It's not just that the thing is so nice, but it came 3 days late. So even in the workplace, whoever, there are those people,
yes,
you know them,
yes,
they get things done. 3 reminders. Look, it's the people, it's called diligence.
Yes.
So I just wanted to throw that in there, that it is to your advantage to become a quick operator. And one of the things actually you can do, this is very what's the word? Counterintuitive. This is lockdown.
Yes, sir.
This is when people are waking up at 9 a.m. I'm serious. If your normal waking up time used to be 7, instead of moving it to 9, move it to 5.
Wow.
You'll be surprised how far ahead you get of everyone at your level of skill or whatever it is you do.
Wow.
Just move it back to 5. Because now most businesses are communicating on online platforms virtually.
Oh, yes.
When the boss hears from your colleagues at 10, for him, he should hear from you at 6 a.m. And the boss will be like, there is something here. So if they wake up and they have some urgent thing they need to be dealt with, they are going to send it your way. The 10 o'clockers, they will be wondering why they have less work than usual.
Wow.
Can I chip in?
Yes, please.
Please. I just got a revelation. How we can stay in business. The things they've been talking about.
Yes.
You have fewer staff, for example, who are effective and efficient. You have less costs, less transport.
Yes.
The other day, when my guys were going somewhere, they reached earlier than usual because there's less jam.
Yes.
So we can actually do things faster, cheaper, and better. And guess what? We can offer cheaper services and stay in business in this period.
Now, of course, that's exciting for the business person. Do you realize he's having his aha moment? That means that somebody's about to lose their job if they don't switch on. No. That's what I'm talking. It's good to be aware of that. That now, if my employer is thinking like that, how do I offer a quicker service with, a leaner staff, because I've reduced my operation costs, less rent, less everything. I reduce my operational costs, and I'm able to deliver the same or better service at a lower cost to my customer, meaning business will improve. It means that for me as the person being employed, I must ask myself, how do I stay? How do I be that employer who they will not let go of, who will not be seen as extra weight for the business? And I think they've given us so many hacks of how do you become that person who is an advantage to the business. You guys have asked some questions. Yes, sir.
But you know what? I haven't even made my most important point yet.
Make it.
This is an and point, but it's more than and point. Shift from being an operator to a leader.
Okay. Elaborate.
So, you all sell ground nuts for Mr. Kawesa. You have different selling points between Nali and Charlie Wajala. Instead of you just filing your ground nut sales report, be the one who starts checking on your colleagues, how things are going, and giving the boss the report that we are doing well. This one is at this percent, this one. I'll give you another report at 3 p.m.
Wow.
Or at noon, and then another one at 3. You have already become a leader among your colleagues. Wow. You see, people think leadership, you wait until someone appoints you. No. You don't wait for appointment to lead. Position and leadership are completely different things. Leadership is about taking responsibility, thinking, what is my boss likely to need today? They will need a report at midday. They will need a report at 3. Now, instead of waiting for him to start harassing everyone for that report, let me get the data and get to him before he needs it. The next day, I will be the one he's talking to.
It's true.
Next week, he will tell my colleagues, now, send your reports to Mose. He will give me the summary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take responsibility. I like that, how you define leadership, that it's not position, it is taking responsibility. It is asking yourself, how can I serve my leader better? Then you start to lead because you anticipate need and you tap into it. Now, I had another question, but I have a feeling where we might ask that question next week, because if we get into it, it's also a very large one, and I think that these gentlemen will really lean into it, and it was about managing our cash flows, which you talked about, which I think is very critical, and maybe we should dedicate a whole, talking about how, for the individual, for the business, what are the things that are key. But we have some questions that came in online, some from Joan Bigaba. She says there are some sectors like pharmacy, and she says, I think lawyers, that are not allowed to advertise their services. How does one go around that and still have impact online specifically? I'll ask another question. I'll ask two questions at once. And the other one is from Namanya Esther. She says, how do you do marketing in this time of crisis when customers are anxious and some have no money to even buy the product? So how do you balance between offers to customers and making money? Those are some two questions online. Should I apportion who?
He should start.
Mr.
He hasn't
Kawesa.
started to do
Yes.
Ah,
Okay. Which one would you like
Lawyers?
to answer?
Lawyers
People who are not
offering
allowed
services?
to advertise online.
Okay. First of all, I think everything we are going to do now should have had some prerequisite before the lockdown. Like, should have started on some of these things earlier. It becomes more difficult to do it now. But I want to lean into the angle of the legislation. And I don't know how possible it is, because some things have to be redefined now. Recently, I posted a flyer, a WhatsApp flyer, on a group. It was for one of a colleague's business that they're doing COVID tests. And someone told me medical services are not supposed to advertise. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? You know? Why should it be the case? Why can't that legislation change? I mean, times have changed. So I think for those services who are not allowed to advertise, there should be a way, and it might have to come from the legal side, the legislation of those businesses. Because you can't tell me you can't advertise medical services today when everyone needs sick bays.
Yes.
But
It's what
look,
is most needed.
Let's get out of the box. That thing we have been saying, you are the brand.
You are.
Okay? Who doesn't know Dr. Kasenene? So, medical services are not allowed to advertise, but who doesn't know Dr. Kasenene?
It's true.
Yeah. As long as you are putting value out there to people, you're not advertising. Who doesn't know Simon Peter Chinobe as a lawyer?
It's true.
Or Dr. Kasenene as a doctor.
True.
You don't say lawyers are not allowed to advertise. Doctors are not allowed to advertise. But how come those people are well known? Because they care about their personal brand. Your personal brand will help drive your business brand if you know what you're doing, whether you're allowed to advertise or not.
Wow. I would add.
Yes, go ahead.
Break some rules.
Okay. Do tell.
That's my man.
No, break some rules. And let me go out on a limb. When COVID hit the market, they did not first need to seek all the approval. They first gave value, then came back and sought the approval. When you're giving value, people will fight your cause.
It's true.
Okay? So they'll come to your rescue. They'll support you. They'll even help you make phone calls, make the contacts that need to be, and your thing will be easily approved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've understood what he's talking about in terms of how do you break some rules? By adding value. He's saying be a value adder. Okay? And if you're adding value to people, exactly the same thing they've both said, that how come we know those names? But you earlier on in an earlier conversation, gentlemen, talked about how right now your biggest advertising is still recommendations and customer reviews and referrals, right? It's that even now, it's that someone is telling someone about, is it Rocket Health? It's not that they're out there advertising, but someone is telling someone about it because they had a good experience. So as we serve, remember what I feel like today a lot of what has been spoken is be extra, be an and person, add value, wake up earlier, give more, take responsibility. Are you listening to what is being said today? It's basically be someone who is extra. And in the extraness, people actually start to recommend you to others because they tell people about you. So you can have a great advertising platform and have very negative reviews, and that can be a downfall in itself. Yeah. In fact, people can come on and say, don't you dare. We've had businesses that have advertised, and in fact, it turned on them because people came in and made comments that were not good. And then people got to know you for the wrong that is in the comment section more than the good. So let's become people. I feel like that's most of what we've talked about today in today's Business Garage. And the question is, how are you going to become extra in this week? What are you going to do differently? Are you going to wake up an hour earlier? What are you going to do that is going to set you apart as an employee who is still a business, or as someone who provides products, services, and runs a business of its own? Let me ask one more question from the online platform, and then we should be done. From Jessica Vanihiza, I think this is from an employer's perspective. And she says, how do you ensure productivity of your staff during this season? The 9 o'clockers. How do you ensure productivity of your staff in this season?
It's the same way you ensure productivity of your staff before this season. Set goals.
Oh.
Once there are goals, I don't care what time you wake up or where you work from. The point is the goal, because the business needs to know that at this level of delivery, we are healthy as a business, not if you're around office, whether you're on Facebook and WhatsApp the whole time or not.
Ooh.
I just think, I usually tell my staff, it's the sales you make. I don't care whether you make sales in your bed. Okay, so if a client calls you and you're in your bed and you make the sale, it's your sale. Okay, so I'm not so keen at, you appearing in physical and making the sale today. I'm like, wherever you are, make the sale. If you're at a party, make the sale. If you're in bed, make the sale.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're in a taxi and a client calls you, you can divert. Go see the client, come back with the sale.
Okay.
Come back with the bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think nothing much to add to them, only that prior to that, the whole thing of training people should have been even before. I know we've talked about people having multiple skills, but maybe you're the leader who said, don't go to the accounts department, don't look at the books. Yet the guy is not present. So there should have been that prior openness to say, guys, be skilled, learn all these things. You can't now start telling them in the lockdown, do you know how to manage social media? Yet you've never helped them do that. So as much as that is said, I think if you've developed people before and you set goals, it should be enough. It should be a good enough way to ensure that they're productive. Yeah.
I love it. So I think we've got lots of insight for the employee, for the employer, goal setting, making clear what is important right now so that the people can produce it, and it's very clear. And also to start adding value, train the people. This is a good time to train, to upskill the people that we are employing in our different spaces. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for so much wisdom and insight. Man, I've left with something good that I can go and put into practice, both as an employee and as someone who is taking care of others. What have you learned? What has been your key highlight? And the thing is that, what are you going to do? Because knowledge without action is actually worse than knowledge. Like, it's worse than, you'd rather not know, but to know and not to do is to deceive yourself. So what are you going to do with what you have learned today from Business Garage? It's been a very exciting session. And before we close, every time we are together, one of the most important, if not the most important moment for us is to invite you into a relationship with Jesus Christ, the one who gives the most value, the one who makes our lives have real significance and meaning. And we want to invite you into that relationship with him right now. If you're watching us and you've never made Jesus Lord of your life, we want you to make that decision today. And it's very simple. If you believe in your heart that Jesus is your Lord and Savior, that he died for your sins, and that he was risen again to give you life in all its fullness, then you are born again and you confess it with your mouth. So why don't you do that for me right now? I'd like you to just put your hand up wherever you are. Whether you're alone or you have company, doesn't matter. This is just your sign of saying, I'm making a commitment. Put that hand up and pray this simple prayer after me. Say, Lord Jesus, today I come. I believe with my heart and I confess with my mouth that you're my Lord and Savior. I believe you died for my sins and you rose again to give me life. I receive your life today. Take my life and do something significant with it. In Jesus' name, amen.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share your comments below and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos coming up soon.